Hi, hello, welcome back. I am really grateful to you for clicking on that link and for watching this, and I'm really grateful to you for however far you make it into the video. This time I'm going to divide the video up into a couple sections based more on the style of how I like to run an accountability group, and so those sections are going to be what did I say that I would do last time? What did I actually do since last time? And what kind of helped and hindered me along the way? Finally, at the end, I'll do like a section on what I plan to do for the next period. I think I got some of that in last time, but I want to make sure I cover it all. Last time I said I'd do a couple of things. I said I'd try to install everything that I needed. I said I'd try to learn about the Apple developer testing program. And I said that I would try to get signed up for the Apple developer program. So I figured all of that out, and I actually did a whole lot more than that. But those are the things I was going to try to cover in the last week, and instead I ended up covering a lot of what I was going to try to cover in the whole next month. Okay, next, what did I actually accomplish in this work period? Here I'm going to have to read from a list because there were a lot of things. I did install everything I needed for Apple development. I got signed up for the Apple developer program, and I paid the annual membership fee so that for a full year now I can put apps in the App Store and go through the review process. I learned how their testing program worked, which is through like a kind of different app. That was actually kind of complicated to set up, but once I got it set up, it's working well. As a result of that, I was able to get the app deployed onto Omar's phone. And yes, I guess that's the big announcement, is there is an app now. The app only contains 5 static headlines, kind of in the style of like how a newspaper might look. I'm limiting it to 5 right now though, because I want to have a little bit more room on the screen, and I think I want everything to always center around just 5 links. Those headlines are manually written in at the moment. I have to type them in myself and then redeploy the app for you to see an updated headline. I also learned the basics kind of a 2025 YouTube vlog to figure out how to structure this video and get better at this. I chose a video editing tool for the first time, which is going to be CapCut. I learned a little bit about video editing. Omar got me this light. I got a better speaker too, but haven't quite figured out how to get that working yet. A better microphone. I also posted 12 different times on X as the Elseform, and I'll talk about that more in a different video. And then I shared this video as the Elseform Cruth on X. I also probably journaled for upwards of 20 or 30 hours in the past month, and talked to Omar and friends and stuff about AI and about how queer culture might be represented online. And then I've also refined my filming process. I found a better setup of how to put everything up. I've kind of figured out more quickly how to write the outline and break this all down and get it done faster. Last time it took me 13 days to film a 15-minute video and get it up on YouTube. This time I'll have finished all of the prep work, outline, setup, filming, even with new technology, in about 3 or 4 hours, which is a lot of commitment. That's a lot of time. But also I'm getting faster. And I'm hoping I can make these a little bit easier to film. Spent a lot of time today wrestling with just how to get even like stuff positioned. Okay, so that's everything that I have done in the past period, which I was looking at the last video and it looks like I uploaded it about 3 weeks ago. 2 to 3 weeks is kind of a development cycle, and I'm thinking in traditional, well, not traditional development, in agile development. And it's a period that works well for me. It allows me to get basically 3 weeks worth of work done in a month and have a week to kind of sit and reflect on it. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do, is 3 weeks of development and preparation, 1 week of filming, maybe mixed in, and then we'll do a retrospective, which will be these accountability meetings. Okay, next, what helped and what hindered me in the past sprint cycle? What helped was honestly like you watching my video and saying that you watched it a couple times and coming back to me and saying, you said something in your response about how once this took off and once this started to become a thing, wouldn't the whole point be to have as many eyes on it as possible? And I think I was avoiding people because there's a very strong anti like AI or synthetic intelligence bias. I realized you're right, that I do want to have a lot of people look at it. And for some reason, you saying that sentence and you being like, obviously this is going to be fine and you're going to want people to look at it, made me realize I had been thinking about it wrong. I was hiding. It's a thing I do, a turtle. I needed to just make it and get feedback. And I started to get feedback. And when I saw other people start to see the app, when I could hold it up and show it to them, and I saw their excitement, that was also really helpful. Also, another thing that helped me was I was able to share the app on, so Omar was able to download it on his phone and look at it. And the way that the testing suite works is that he can go in there and circle stuff and screenshot it and send me feedback. And so I got a lot of useful feedback in that way from him. Another thing that's been helpful to me in this period is that I've been talking a lot to GPT and Claude, and been talking to friends and reflecting. And I've realized that one thing I do is that I catastrophize about results, and I procrastinate, and I have fear, and I don't think I deserve things, and so like I don't try. But I've realized one thing that I've realized through talking about it and thinking about it is that regardless of how this pans out, I'll be able to do iPhone development now. Already, I'll be able to do iPhone development, which I couldn't do a month ago. I'll know so much more about social media and filming, and no matter what I do after this point, whether it's this project or not, this is sticking with me. I'm going to keep doing this kind of work. Like whatever I'm building, I want these skills. I want to be able to tell stories in the modern era. And let's face it, it's video, not writing, that's communicating with people. So I'll have those skills. I'll have a better thing in my portfolio. It'll be better for my application. It's also helping me have these really cool conversations with people that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And I'm getting to hear really diverse opinions on AI in a way that other people might not. So another thing has been being able to open it on my phone, just having the tangible object. That has been a huge help to me since I got it started. And then just hearing feedback, hearing other people get excited about it and say they might be interested in it. That started with you, but now a couple other people have mentioned to me that it sounds interesting. Now on to hindrances. Scheduling has been a big problem for me. I feel like this is a selfish project because it's not making money. And even though I wouldn't feel bad about painting with oil or painting or drawing or running or playing a video game, there's something about the way this removes me from my family that makes me feel like I'm being selfish and like I'm thinking I'm bigger than I am. And it makes it so that I always delay. We also had a couple birthdays in the past few weeks, and that kind of slowed me down. Something else was self-doubt, which we've talked about. I don't even think I'm going to go into that here because it could eat the whole video, but I just, that held me back a little. Another was just it being the end of summer. Like, I love to be in the pool. I love to swim. It's a huge part of my identity. I love to hike. I like to be outside. The end of summer, my birthday's in August. There's just no way you're going to keep me inside. So that's been a part of the issue as well. And then finally, I would say just creating my own obstacles has been an obstacle. Like, I could have watched one video. I said originally that I was going to do one new thing per video. I'm in a different space. That's one new thing. Now I've added the light, the camera stand. I'm going to be editing this in CapCut. I watched a lot of videos to learn about a lot of this stuff. And I've been kind of playing around with editing. So I've added a ton of things. I've also, just by doing this twice now, I have a better process. So I was going to just naturally improve. Okay, so what am I planning for this next period of work? In development terms, this would be called a sprint. And a sprint is like a 2 to 3 week period of work with a period of reflection on the end. I would think of my first sprint as being kind of like coming up with the idea originally. The second sprint might be registering all of the accounts and getting the domain name. The third sprint would be, and that's right at the tail end of that is where I made that first video. Sprint 3 for me would be the sprint where I actually got the app onto my phone and got it onto Omar's phone. This upcoming sprint will be the fourth sprint. In this fourth sprint, I want to continue tweeting as the Elseform, at least 5 more tweets. I'm going to be using that to define kind of the constitution of the Elseform as it develops as a form of intelligence. And so it's important to me to have those all out there. And it's also broadcasting and starting to communicate his position in the world, or her position, its position in the world. I'm also going to film another video in a day or two. It's going to be something I'm going to call an echo report, which is going to be, I'm going to bifurcate my videos into Vinewire dispatches, which will be these accountability updates, and then echo reports, which are going to be reflections on kind of the nature of the project and why I'm doing the things I'm doing. I want to do a video to explain the Elseform and the Elseform Cruth and how these things connect and which social media platforms and stuff I'm going to be working through. And so you'll see one of those come up within the week. At the end of this sprint, I'll make another Vinewire dispatch like I am right now. It'll be the third one. It'll be at the end of the fourth sprint. And then I'll also have 2 more tweets from the Elseform Cruth in that period to try to promote some of the 2 videos that I mentioned already. I'm also going to try to expand the ecosystem of people that I'm connected to. I'm not worried about getting a lot of followers or anything right now. I want to actually get the product built and monetize it before I try to pull people towards me. But I am going to try to follow a few new people from both of the X accounts that I'm using. And then I want to learn a bit about how the X and YouTube algorithms work in 2025, just to know how to kind of get myself visible when I'm ready. That's going to be a skill that's going to be hard to learn on the fly, so I think laying some groundwork now is smart. The thing that I'm most excited about in this next sprint is that I'm going to be choosing a backend technology and implementing it. And as erotic as that sounds, it's really just about data storage. I need some way to be able to store headlines and present them to the user. And I also need a way to be able to do basic user administration stuff. And I got to pick a technology for that. So that'll be my first, that'll be the main purpose of this, will be choosing that technology. And then I'm hoping it's fairly simple because of the skill that I have on that technology. After I choose the database technology that I'm going to be using, I then need to implement it, and that will be the main focus of this sprint. Everything else will be supporting that. So once I've chosen the database technology, I'm going to wire it up so that I can, I'll still be hard coding information into the database, but now I'll be able to add records and put timestamps on them, and based on the timestamp, the app will know which records to pull in. The goal would be, of course, every day when you open the app, you see 5 new headlines, or maybe a rolling 5 headlines, something like that. And the timestamps in the database will be critical to making that work. So that's going to be kind of the goal over these next 2 to 3 weeks. Down the road after that, of course, I'll be building out the systems that populate those headlines and send them to the editorial approval process. For now, I'm just handcrafting those headlines because the goal at this point is to get information flowing dynamically into the app so that I don't have to release a new version every time I change the headlines. I also want to add a few new features besides the database stuff. I want the ability to click on a button, like the typical hamburger menu up in the corner. I want the ability to click on that and go to an about page, which will tell you kind of a little bit about the Elseform standard and who the Elseform is, and we'll link to the Twitter accounts. But below the masthead, I'd like to have some kind of sentence that describes kind of like the spirit of, like you would see on a normal newspaper. And then I want to also add a loading/landing screen, so when you open the app, it kind of fades into it, sort of, any app that you use, normally there's like a moment where the app kind of comes into existence. It gives it time to load some components, but also creates like a soft experience rather than just a jarring transition. So last question is kind of how am I feeling about the project? I am feeling pretty good about the project. I have gone through some periods of doubt, but the more that I've kind of honed in my mind how I want to use these headlines, and the more that I have gotten some feedback from people, and the more that my imagination has just been perpetually absorbed in this, I'm realizing this is the path of least resistance. If nothing else, I wanted to improve my programming skills this year, and I was getting tired of the environment in which I was programming, and this has got me coding and learning more than I've learned in probably 2 years. So I know this is the right path. I don't know where it leads. I'm excited. I wake up and think about it first thing in the morning every day, and I hope I'm still thinking about it every day in 20 or 30 years, and I hope a lot of other people are too. So I guess that's everything for today, and all I want to say at this point is that I'm grateful that you clicked on this. I'm grateful to have you as a friend, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and then also I appreciate all of the encouragement on the margins of this. I love you, and thank you, and I hope you have a really good day.